Have you ever sat alone at your desk, staring at your project, feeling like all the motivation that once lit your heart on fire has just vanished? You started this journey full of energy. You had dreams, you had plans, maybe even a vision board or a journal filled with goals. But now, everything feels heavy. Progress is slow, results are unclear, and that passion you once had, it feels like a distant memory. If this sounds familiar, let me tell you something important. You are not alone. Every creator, entrepreneur, and dreamer hits this wall. It's not a sign that you should quit, it's a sign that you're growing. And in moments like this, when doubt creeps in and your energy fades, what you need isn't more pressures. Well, what you need is perspective, a reminder, a shift, a breath. In today's video, I want to speak to your heart, not just your mind. We're going to talk about how to reignite your motivation when your project feels like it's falling apart. I'll share with you 3 powerful ideas that have helped me and many others keep going through the hardest, most discouraging days. So if you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just tired, stay with me. This might be the message you didn't know you needed. Do you remember that one night, maybe weeks, maybe months ago, when the idea for this project first came to you? Maybe you were lying in bed, unable to sleep because your mind was buzzing with possibility. Maybe it was after a conversation with a friend, or during a long walk when the thought hit you, what if I really tried to do this? It wasn't just a random decision, it was born from something deeper. It came from a desire to build, to create, to grow. It came from a part of you that was brave enough to hope for more. That moment, your beginning was pure. There were no guarantees, no applause, just an inner voice saying, "This matters, I have to try." Now fast forward to today. You're tired. Progress isn't as fast as you imagine. You might even feel like you've lost your way. But the truth is, you haven't lost your way. You've just drifted from your why. In the Western mindset, we often tie our worth to productivity. We chase deadlines. We compare our journey to others. And when things slow down, we panic. We feel like we're failing. But growth isn't linear, and meaning doesn't come from speed. It comes from depth. That's why reconnecting to your original intention is so powerful. It grounds you. It reminds you that this isn't just another task. It's a part of who you are. So here's a simple practice. Take 5 minutes. Grab a notebook. Write down, in your own words, why did I start this project? What was I hoping it would bring to my life? Who am I doing this for? This isn't a motivational trick. It's an act of self-respect. Because when you remember your why, even the hardest days gain purpose. You stop running in circles, and you start walking with direction, even if the pace is slow. And if your why has changed, that's okay too. We evolve. Let your project evolve with you. What matters most is that you stay connected to meaning, not metrics. Let's be honest, no one tells you how emotionally heavy creative work can get. When you start a project, whether it's building a business, writing a book, launching an app, or even learning a new skill, it feels exciting. You're energized by possibility. You're driven by vision. But what happens when that initial spark fades? What happens when progress becomes painfully slow? When obstacles keep stacking up, and when people around you don't quite understand what you're doing or why? You feel stuck, frustrated, and worse, you begin to question yourself. Am I even good enough for this? Maybe I'm not meant to do this after all. But let me stop you right there. Frustration is not failure. It's a natural part of every meaningful journey. In Western culture, especially in entrepreneurial and creative circles, there's this subtle pressure to always be crushing it. Social media is filled with success stories, overnight wins, and polished highlight reels. But the truth no one posts? Every success story includes long, silent chapters of self-doubt, confusion, and emotional fatigue. Frustration means you're pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone. It means you care. It means you're trying something that matters. Think about it. Would you really feel this way if your project didn't mean anything to you? When we avoid or suppress frustration, we turn it into shame. But when we accept it as part of the process, we free ourselves. So, what do you do when you hit that wall? You pause, you breathe, you acknowledge what's hard without judging yourself for feeling that way. Sometimes you might even need to step away for a day or two, to rest, to reconnect with life, to remember that your worth isn't tied to your productivity. You're allowed to feel lost. You're allowed to not have all the answers. But you're not allowed to give up on yourself just because it's hard. Frustration is a sign that you're building something real, something worth struggling for. So give yourself grace, give yourself space, and most of all, give yourself time. Because the people who make it in the end are not the ones who never got discouraged. They're the ones who learned how to keep going despite it. Let's talk about something practical, because when you're deep in a rut, you don't always need another motivational quote. You need something real, something that works. And here's the truth, you don't climb out of a low point with a big leap. You do it with one small, consistent step, over and over again. When your motivation fades, your brain tends to focus on everything that's not working. You zoom out, you see how far you still have to go, and that overwhelm, it paralyzes you. So the first strategy is this: shrink the goal, not the dream, just the next step. Instead of saying, I have to finish this entire project, say, let me just work on it for 20 minutes. Or, let me write the first paragraph. Or even, let me organize my workspace. Why? Because action creates momentum, and momentum creates motivation, not the other way around. Another powerful shift? Celebrate progress, not perfection. We tend to skip over small wins. We tell ourselves they don't count unless the whole thing is done. But motivation is a muscle. It grows when you feed it small victories. So track your wins, keep a progress log. Write down what you did today, no matter how small. You'd be surprised how quickly those tiny steps add up. And don't underestimate the power of your environment. Change where you work, play music that energizes you, light a candle, go to a cafe. Sometimes you don't need a new plan, you just need a new vibe. And if you're truly drained, emotionally or mentally, then maybe what you need most is rest, not guilt-filled rest. Not scrolling on your phone rest, but intentional rest. Go for a walk, take a digital detox, give your brain space to reset. Because here's something people forget. Motivation doesn't come from pressure, it comes from clarity and energy. So protect your energy, reconnect with clarity, and rebuild your rhythm with kindness, not force. Remember, this is your journey. You get to write the rules, and you get to start again as many times as you need to.